I'm joined now by Bruce Manners, who is the project executive as part of NASA's Commercial Orbital Transportation Services program, who works with Orbital Sciences. Now, we've talked a lot about SpaceX and their success that they had the last few weeks flying up to the station.
Mhm.
Orbital is the other COTS partner that NASA has been working with for a number of years, but Orbital's a little bit different in terms of their hardware, their rocket, and also they started the COTS program, what, in 2008, correct? Or
They
was
did
it?
start a little late
Okay,
from when SpaceX got started, and that was principally because we initially actually initiated the program with a different company entirely that
sure.
was unsuccessful. So we started over, and Orbital started 2 years late, but is coming in about 6 months or so behind. So I think they did pretty well.
So let's talk about what the differences between Cygnus, which is their spacecraft, and Dragon. Cygnus does not come back and splash down. It's more like a Progress and things like that are packed full of items and come back and they burn up, right?
Right. It'll function much more like a Progress. It's going to take up cargo to the space station and then take away trash.
Yeah. So as you've worked with them one on one, Mike Korkachuk is the project executive for SpaceX. You guys work very closely with these companies. How has that been? Has it been a little bit differently than stuff you've done at NASA before? What have been the challenges and sort of the cool part about it too?
It's been a lot of fun and very challenging. Orbital Sciences as it's a very interesting company. They've got unique skill set in that they both handle both spacecraft and launch vehicles
Hmm.
as part of their core business products, and learning really how the commercial side of the industry works, and learning how specifically in the commercial side for satellite manufacturing and design and construction has been very interesting.
So, a lot of people may not realize this, but Orbital actually is going to launch from Wallops, which is one of the NASA facilities up on the northeast coast. It's different from KSC. So, talk about that. How different is that from other launch sites?
It's Wallops is a traditional launch site who has done a lot of solid boosters and really smaller things in general, like
Mm,
sounding rockets principally.
sure.
They've been in the business for a long time, but this is a big step up for them to get into a medium-class launch vehicle, a liquid system, having to build an entirely new pad that's a commercial pad. Really, it's going to be owned and operated by Mars, the Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport.
Right.
It's been a big step for them. I think they've stood up to the challenge. It's been a very interesting process trying to integrate them with really how the rest of the agency works for human spaceflight
Hmm.
with JSC and all that. So
Now,
it's been very exciting.
we talked a lot about this with SpaceX, but I think it's good to remind people that the way COTS works is a little bit differently. It's not just a straight up contract with these companies. It's a Space Act agreement, which is a NASA way of working with private companies. But there's a lot of milestones that are set that
Hmm.
both Orbital and SpaceX had to meet, and SpaceX is getting close to wrapping up theirs. But Orbital's pretty far along in terms of how many milestones they've met and what they've got left, right?
Yes. Yeah, they've really now we're down to the last 3 or 4 milestones for them, which are all hardware related and
Hmm.
all mission related. We've got to just finish up really in June. We're hoping to wrap up the first stage assembly for their test launch vehicle,
Hmm.
and then after that we have they have put together their first stage for their ultimate demo space vehicle that'll go to the space station. They're really into the hardware phase of this program. The Cygnus spacecraft, it's still in two pieces, so that their pressurized element is already delivered and is at Wallops, and their service module side of that spacecraft is really just wrapping up its final integration stages at Dulles, and then it will ship to Wallops where it gets mated with their pressurized element. So the spacecraft is pretty much finished. The launch vehicle, if you went down to Wallops right now, you can see 2 launch vehicles in process, and it's very exciting seeing all that hardware come together after all this time.
So talk about the two flights that are coming up toward the end of this year. There's a test flight of the Antares, which is the rocket itself, and then there's a second flight, which is the actual demonstration mission up to the
Yes.
station, much like what SpaceX just did. So
Yes.
so talk about those two things and what the goals are.
The goals are pretty simple. When we actually started this program, actually had one mission. It was going to go all the way to the space station.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, we had some opportunity to add some additional money to the program, where we added in some risk reduction activities. One of the first ones we wanted to add in was a test flight of the Antares launch vehicle. It's a new rocket, and like any other new system, it has challenges and risk associated with that new development. So the first launch, the test launch in which we hope to be the late this summer, will be a test of Antares to
Hmm.
launch and reach orbit. It will have a dummy spacecraft on it. It's going to do a mission profile that exactly matches what they will do for the ultimate demo to the space station, but it's really a test and ringing out of the launch vehicle itself.
So that first mission that they're going to fly is that how many orbits is that going to be? Is it going to be a few orbits and they come back in, or what will they do?
Principally, it's really a test of the launch vehicle.
Okay.
They're gonna put up this Cygnus simulator,
It's like a mock-up
and
of it, basically. Yeah.
it's a mock-up, and it will actually lose communication with that as soon as it leaves the launch vehicle.
Okay.
So
Okay.
really, it's going to go up and it'll end up orbiting some, but the test is really to make sure to show that the rocket can
works.
deliver that payload to orbit.
Okay. And then the second one's going to be the big one. Or
The
it'll
second
come
one's
up
the
and
big one. It'll mirror very similar to what we just did with SpaceX. They'll launch. They'll have cargo. They'll take it up to the space station and deliver it, just like we planned for the CRS missions.
And they're going to be grappled just like SpaceX was.
They get grappled just like SpaceX. It'll be a hauntingly similar mission, with the exception that the cargo that leaves, the trash that leaves, won't be recoverable.
So is it cool to finally get close to actually seeing this thing fly?
It's very exciting. We're really excited. We're proud of what happened with SpaceX, but this program is really only half done, and we're getting ready to finish it up.
It's been a lot of work.
It has been an awful lot of work by an awful lot of people, both in Mission Control here, the space station program. Orbital Science has put a huge amounts of resources into this. Wallops, NASA Wallops has put a lot of people into it. The Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport has had a lot of people in it.
Mm-hmm.
This has been a big challenge and a very exciting program worked by a lot of people.
So if you'd like to learn more about Orbital or take a look at SpaceX as well, you can also log on to the COTS website, which is www.nasa.gov/COTS, C-O-T-S. Once again, www.nasa.gov/COTS. Of course, we'll have more information as we get closer to launch. So Bruce, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.